Have you been following watercolor tutorials, mastering your washes, wet and wet and wet and dry techniques? Great. But what happens when you want to go beyond tutorials and paint your own ideas from your own photos? How do you make that leap? That's where things get real, and there's no tutorial for that. Stick around, because today I'm going to show you in 10 steps how to bridge that gap and make watercolor painting truly your own. Number 1, choose a high-resolution photo. Start with a clear, high-quality photo for best results. Make sure it is well lit with strong, defined shapes. Don't worry if it has elements you don't like. You're the artist, so feel free to make changes. You can edit things out, play with colors, shift shapes around, or even alter the mood entirely. This is your chance to take creative control and make it uniquely yours. Number 2, edit and crop for drama. Cropping your reference photo can really bring energy and focus to your painting. And the best part, you can do it right on your phone, tablet, or computer with free apps like Photoshop Express, Canva, or even the built-in editing tools. Adjust the contrast, boost the saturation, or zoom in to add some drama. Whatever helps you tell the story you want. Think about what you're trying to emphasize. Is there a mood or a particular color you want to highlight? Do you want your painting to feel angular or soft and flowing? Will it be more about light or darker tones? All of these choices shape the vibe of your painting. One pro tip, crop your photo to the same aspect ratio as your watercolor paper. This makes sketching and keeping your proportions way easier when you're ready to transfer it over. Step 3, plan your composition with a thumbnail sketch. Now, I know it's tempting to jump right into the painting, but trust me, taking a few minutes to do a quick, small thumbnail sketch in a single color will save you a ton of time and potential frustration later. This little sketch lets you map out the light and dark shapes and spot any problem areas in the composition before they become a headache. Plus, it's a chance to decide on a clear focal point and even come up with a title for your piece. A title at this point might sound unnecessary, but it actually helps clarify your vision and gives you a sense of purpose as you paint. Step number 4, plan your color palette and test out swatches. Play around with some colors. Test swatches on a scrap piece of paper just to see how they interact, and choose colors that capture the mood you're going for. This also helps reduce hesitation when it's time to start painting. If you want to get specific, like matching the exact pink of a flower, capturing the unique color blend in a pet's fur, or nailing a certain skin tone, don't skip this step. Do some quick swatches to get those colors just right, so when it's time to start painting, you're confident in your choices and ready to go. Now, if you're looking to really nail down those foundational watercolor skills, things like brush control, color mixing, and understanding how to work with wet and wet and wet and dry techniques, then my online school, Watercolor Mastery, might be just what you need. Watercolor Mastery is all about building confidence with the basics so that you feel ready to tackle your own ideas and really start exploring your creativity. With structured lessons, a supportive community, and my guidance every step of the way, Watercolor Mastery helps take you from beginner to feeling capable of bringing your unique ideas to life in watercolor. If that sounds like something you're interested in, I'd love for you to check it out. You can find the link in the description below. All right, let's move on to step 5. Practice key elements. If there are parts of the painting you're unsure about, like tricky textures, color mixes, or brush techniques, practice them on a scrap sheet. It could just be the background, or a subtle blend from light to dark, maybe a skin tone, or the specific shape of a tree. Practicing these small pieces will build confidence and save time. Step 6, sketch your image. Whether you prefer tracing, using the grid method, or freehand sketching, get a basic outline of your composition on paper. Each method has pros and cons, so choose what works best for you. Step 7, map out white areas. Look for spots in your painting where you want to keep the pure white of the paper, like highlights or bright areas. White space is super valuable in watercolor. It adds a beautiful luminosity that you just can't get by painting over it. To protect these areas, you can either use masking fluid or make a mental note to paint around those areas. This is called negative painting. Remember, the most vibrant watercolors always have spots where the untouched paper shines through. Step 8, plan for soft edges. Decide where you want soft edges versus sharp edges. Soft edges help an area of the painting recede in space. For soft, blurry areas, plan to use wet and wet. It's good to have a clear idea of this before you start, so you don't miss the chance to create those effects as you go. Step 9. Start with washes using your biggest brush. Begin with the largest brush you have and keep it as long as possible to block in big areas and establish general tones. Work from broad shapes to specific details. always keeping an eye on the white areas of your painting to preserve those. As you work, you can start to work with smaller brushes. Step 10. Work light to dark, building layers gradually. Layer in darker tones, letting each layer dry completely before adding the next. Watercolor rewards patience, so take it slow. Keep your reference photo close by to ensure accuracy, but don't be afraid to adapt it to your own personal vision. This steady buildup of layers will give your painting depth and dimension. Alright, there you have it. Now you're ready to take a photo and turn it into something truly your own with watercolor. By following these steps, you're not just copying an image. You're bringing your own personal vision and story into each brushstroke. And remember, the goal isn't perfection, but expression. So pick out a favorite photo, grab your paints, and dive in. Don't be afraid to experiment, play with colors, and let your creativity flow. If you try this, I'd absolutely love to see what you create. Feel free to tag me on social media or share your progress in the comments. And if this helped you feel more confident to break away from tutorials, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe for more watercolor inspiration. Oh, and check out my new merch store down below. You can get a t-shirt just like this one. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, happy painting!